is Amalgamation Nation for a Sports Tuesday episode. As always, you can find us live streaming these 8 p.m. Central Time on Tuesdays and 8 p.m. Central Time on Thursday. That's our gaming show. On our Twitter, it's at AMNationPod. On YouTube, search Amalgamation Nation. And twitch.tv/Undead Red Bull. Also, you can find us on Instagram at AMNationPod. And on podcast platforms of choice such as Spotify, Google, Apple, and etc. Bullhorn, I think that's another one. That's another one's popular. I don't know what that is, but we get listens, so I'm into it. I don't know what it is. If you're looking for some sweet AM Nation merch and Undead Red Bull merch, go to teesprings.com/stores/AMNation-Undead Red Bull. That is a lot to remember, so you can go down below in the episode description or on our Twitter at the pinned tweet at AMNationPod, or if you're on twitch.tv/Undead Red Bull, it's down below as well. While you're there, make sure you give David a follow and a sub. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free sub a month, so give it to Undead Red Bull. Of course, I'm the anime watching, Swole Team 6 flexing, Garage Guys sleeping, Olivia Munn's liking, John Cena's following, hostess with the mostest himself, Ryan Green Machine Ebner, and I am joined by, from North Carolina, Brendan B.K. Kennerly. B.K., hello, sir.
Good evening, fellers.
Good evening there, good evening, good evening. Also joining the crew, Petey Tahiti Argus. Hello there, Pete.
How's it going, man?
Oh.
I don't think you did ask me, so I'm doing well, man.
I didn't ask you, but yeah, you're doing.
I thought you did. I just assumed.
But
I'm doing well.
Glad you're doing well, sir. Glad you're doing well. And returning and joining the group tonight from the West Coast, Best Coast, Dan the Freakster Frigo. Dan, how are you?
I'm doing well, man. How about yourself?
Oh, pretty good. Today, this last few days have been the closest I've ever been to being like, you know what? I'm going to quit my job, pack up my shit, and move to Arizona with Dan because I'm tired of this cold. It's fucking freezing, bro. It is.
You guys get a lot of snow, right? Like 9.
Nah, man, they lied to us. Fuck that. They lied to us, bro.
Yeah,
dude, so I actually got kind of excited about it because I, for one, actually really enjoy snow. I do. I like it. It's not anything. I hate when it gets into
done.
Well, yeah, like one good one though. You know what I'm saying? Like I love a good fucking blizzard, bro.
Is a good one.
Yeah, that's what she said. But
exactly.
I will tell you, they said like, okay, it's gonna be somewhere between like 6 to 10, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then
I've heard that one before.
And then that's what she said. And then I woke up in the morning, and there was like 2, and there was sheer disappointment. That's what she said. And it's just, it's just rolling. It's only 2. I'm rolling
for the hat
today.
trick. There you go.
I am rolling for the hat trick. So we got a lot to get into today sports-wise. We're going to talk about how there's no Baseball Hall of Fame members this year. We're going to talk about NFL Championship Sunday. We also, of course, are going to talk about remembering Kobe Bryant because today, January 26th, is 1 year since Kobe, his daughter Gigi, and all the other victims on that helicopter passed away, which is so crazy that it's already been a year. I want to get into it later. We'll finish the show with that, but it's one of those things. I was listening on the way home to a radio show, a sports show, and they're talking about Kobe and how it's gonna go down as one of those things where you'll always remember where you were, like when you heard the news. Like you'll always remember that, and that is so crazy because I do remember exactly where it was. So we will of course get into that. I did say a couple weeks ago when we started the new year that I wanted to each show have some type of question. I didn't know what it was going to be. I didn't know if it was going to be related to whatever we're talking about there or not. But today I was listening to the Kind of Funny podcast, and Andy Cortez asked a question, and I was like, I think this would be a really fun question to ask everybody. So let's say scientists develop a way to create any drink you want. It just appears. Any drink you want, right? But then some shit happens. The planet's getting fucked, and we have to move to a new planet. Things happen. Now they can only create, for the rest of your life, 5 drinks. It could be very specific. It could not be specific. But 5 drinks that you can have for the rest of your life. But you'll have an endless supply of those 5 drinks. I'll start because I know I feel like everybody's got to think about it, obviously. But 5 drinks, all right? I got water, obviously. Fucking water. Gonna do that. Well, you have to have water, Dan. Otherwise, we die. You have to have water. So That's one of them, asshole. Drink Poppy, any of the flavors, but specifically Poppy, I'm going to get the ginger lime. That one's actually really good. Shout out to you, Drink Poppy. Yeah, Drink Poppy. Great. Healthy, good, happy life. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to pick... I'm going to pick a Maker's Mark and Coke. That's my third. So I got to get kind of boozy.
Well, that's like 2 drinks.
No, mixed. You can do one. I did listen. You could have a mixed drink as your one.
Okay.
All right.
I don't know the rules.
I know. That's why I'm telling you as we go. The cucumber limon Gatorade. That's number 4. And number 5, a Modelo with a lime. That are my 5 drinks. Right there. 5 drinks. Who has their 5 drinks or would like to go next?
Ooh, I'm right at like 4, so I'll just go.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
So I got 4 so far. Obviously water. So, I mean, you have to
Cheers.
start there. And then second to water, which is pretty close to water, Bud Light. Would be my second choice.
He's not
So,
telling any lies.
So there is some sort of progression, but then it kind of gets off. And then next, I want some milk. I just
Okay.
like to have some milk, but I'm getting to an age where I have to have the lactose, kind of like milk.
Like Lactaid?
Yeah, so I gotta go Lactaid milk.
Okay.
There for me, just because I have probably way too much cheese as a human. So yeah, I mean, if I'm only gonna have 5 drinks, I gotta hold it there. And then next, I'm gonna go Glacier Cherry Gatorade.
Ooh.
So I'm going with that Gatorade. And then to finish it off, I'll go Red Oak Beer. BK knows about that, so I'll go Red Oak Beer.
shout out,
That was one of my favorite beers.
I don't know what
And
that
that's
is,
why
but I
like
want to
Amber
try
Ales.
it. Oh, it's an amber? Ooh, even better.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Some you always mail some up there.
Yeah, you
Try it,
did. I would try it. That sounds delicious.
Yeah. Good stuff.
That's very good list, Pete. BK or Dan, do one of you want to go next?
You can go next, dude.
He's
I like the last 2. I'm trying to think it through. I'm trying to think through the last 2.
I have 2 on my list so far. I
Okay,
have
okay.
water.
I
milk.
think it's a toss up for 5, but I'll probably make my decision as I go. Okay.
Alright.
So,
I
all right.
like it.
So I'll keep the trend of obviously the first one should be water, of course, right? But I'm not gonna do a specific brand, so
You can, yeah.
I'll do some fancy shit. I'll do some like Dasani or something.
You said Dasani when you said fancy shit. You nasty
Fancy.
motherfucker. Dasani.
Wait. For my,
No, I'm
for
kidding.
my
I'll
fancy-
do Smart Water, dude.
Oh, okay. That's fine. I'll take Smart Water.
Wait, if we're doing fancy water, I just want to bring my Brita. So I'm gonna bring my Brita. So I want to filter that
Do
out.
that?
You want filtered?
Filtered anyways.
I'm filtering it.
Oh, that's
Well, my
ridiculous.
bottle comes filtered, so I don't have to do that. It's a one-step process.
And you're gonna get
In hand,
you're
drink.
gonna get your what else does Smart Water have? The alkaline or what? You know what I'm talking about? Like your pH
Oh
levels
yeah, like
and
the
shit.
minerals. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, there you go. Very nice.
Healthy and shit.
Very
I
nice.
get
Yeah,
it.
I love it.
Me too. That's why I drink it. So second on my list here. So just kind of like Pete, I picked milk, but I picked chocolate milk.
Ooh.
Chocolate milk is my shit, dude. All the time for breakfast. I always like the chocolate cereals. I prefer chocolate, so I always like the taste of it over vanilla. So
Mhm.
chocolate milk's definitely my thing. And then next on my list, I picked the brother of Bud Light and picked Coors Light.
God, dude. Oh, God.
Just different piss river, okay?
Jesus Christ! You pissed in this stream instead of this stream. Yeah,
Exactly.
it's a little bit of a lighter piss.
I guess I just had a few bears and mountains on the way. You know, I don't know what you have, but some holders.
Oh, yeah, there's some Clydesdales over there. That's real nice. Holy shit!
And then next one here, I'm gonna go a little fancy, boys. So I'm gonna go with the Moscow Mule because it's always light and refreshing. So that's a good always
Ooh.
one to have.
Mhm.
Where I'm going, that's what I like to have to drink if I'm going hard liquor.
Okay.
I
And then my number What? Go ahead.
Oh no, I was saying I dig it. I dig it.
You dig it?
Yeah.
And then for for number 5, I am gonna go with. Yeah, I'm gonna go with this one. I like the blue Gatorade, but I like the light blue one. I just don't know the name of the flavor because I don't have it out of my head.
Hold on, I'm gonna look that up while you're.
Wait, which the blue one? Which
It's like the lighter one.
It's the light blue one. Like
is
it's
it
like a
Glacier?
Carolina blue color. Like
Yeah,
that, like
yeah,
the
yeah,
light
exactly.
blue.
Yep.
Yeah, that one's really good.
Is it Glacier, Pete?
Yeah, I
Might
thought
be
it was
Glacier.
Glacier something.
Glacier.
Glacier
Okay.
Freeze.
It might be
Glacier
what-
Freeze.
Glacier Freeze.
Glacier
There it is,
Freeze.
yeah.
Glacier Freeze. Got it. That's number 5.
What did the Ice Age say to the dinosaur? Freeze! Oh man, good movie. Great movie. I do love your list, Dan. I want to point out that Shy Brushline did say Fiji. Yeah, Fiji water's the shit. Melissa makes you smart. That's why it's smart water.
Shut up.
And I do in fact add tahine to my cucumber limon Gatorade. In fact, I do. It's actually delicious.
You know, I kind of judged you for that one because I never cared for that flavor.
Oh, it's my favorite. You're clearly a gringo, and that's okay, but it's my favorite.
Not that big on the cucumber. That's the thing.
Oh, see. Well, you know. That's
Too strong for me.
You know what? That's why I didn't make
Like
your
a
list. That's why I didn't make your
Yep.
list. It was between that
But-
Gatorade and the lemon lime Gatorade. It was one of the two.
Lemon lime is delicious too.
It sure the fuck is. Also, Dan, I
That's
want to point
everyone's
out
favorite.
that you and I did not include any type of coffee or energy drink on our list.
I was actually gonna put coffee, but there's other things I'd rather have.
Because I'm going to tell you right
I have
now,
5 things.
I'm thinking about if Mike was here, and if Mike would have said some type of Monster, a Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee, a Moscow Mule, some type of beer as well. And he might have thrown water. He honestly might have been like, fuck water. I don't want to be hydrated at all. I don't know. Or I'll drink from the fucking rivers on wherever this planet is that we're on. BK, do you have your 5?
I got my 5 now.
All
So,
you, sir.
Obviously water, can't go wrong. Now, I also have chalky milk, but it has to be fat-free milk. I drink skim milk only. I don't drink anything else.
Oh,
and
man.
Hershey syrup with it. It's got to be Hershey syrup. I don't want bargain brand like Food Lion, Walmart shit syrup. I want Hershey
Yeah.
syrup. I want name brand. So I'm having an energy drink coffee, and I don't want cream and sugar for all you weak folk out there. I just want black coffee, and so then whoever like black coffee can fuck right off, and there's more coffee for me.
Nasty motherfucker.
Oh, I drink it now. I got used to it.
Sweet. I'm a southerner, so like sweet tea. I need
Oh,
sweet
God.
tea in there. I need it, and I want my sugar bubbles in the sweet tea. If there's no sugar bubbles in the sweet tea, it's not fucking sweet tea. Scrap it. Try it again. All right. And then lastly, here is my only alcohol drink. I'm not going beer because I'm getting older.
Uh-huh.
Beer gets me bloated, and so if I'm drinking to have a good time, it's just I'm drinking liquor, and so I'm going with a whiskey ginger. Like I'll take
Ooh.
real whiskey. That's fine as long as it's mixed with a nice ginger ale. Let's fucking party. Let's get crazy. Let's get weird.
You know, I'm going to try that combo after my dry January is over. I'm gonna
Yeah.
try
I had that on New Year's. Delicious.
Was
Great
it?
combo.
It's so good.
Do-
Yep.
Now,
Ginger whiskey, perfect.
what I was going to say, what specific whiskey did you use, Dan?
I used Maker's Mark and it was Canada Dry ginger ale.
I do love Maker's Mark, so I'm good to go,
Yeah.
baby. Woo!
Damn.
Shy Brush Light says Malort got
Yeah,
hosed.
bro.
Malort's fucking gross, my guy. It's so fucking nasty. But yeah, thank
I
you.
like it though.
Well, yeah, fuck them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I did. I heard that question earlier, and I was like, that's a good question. Because you have to say water, but I will say Dan was the only one that got real specific about his water. Well, then Pete, you said your Brita, but
Yeah.
because I'm not drinking
like
tap
the-
water. I mean, that's a fact. No.
River water, piss water, rainwater.
Well, I probably, if
Water.
I had to be specific with what kind of water I got, my favorite is whatever fucking brand we have in the little water machine out there. That's what I want. I don't know what the fuck it is. It honestly might be Ice Mountain, and I'm not going to get up mid-show to look, but it's pretty fucking delicious, so that's the water I'll take.
Well, there you go.
Or
but I like
smart
the,
water.
Specific. I like the how you got with the milk though. Skim milk only, fat free. Really though.
Hershey too.
Oh.
Yeah, all the Hershey
see.
for sure. Yeah, I only do Hershey syrup too.
Yeah, I haven't drank like non-skim milk since like my sophomore year of college, I like switched over then. Like I started because like I used to drink like 2%, and so then what I would do is like, all right, I'm gonna drink 3/4 2% with like 1/4 1% in there, and then slowly like worked my way down like all the way to like skim because it's like healthier for you. So and eventually just did
Okay.
that. Yeah. I didn't
Well,
even do coffee black until I had 8 o'clock classes every day one semester. One was like physics 2 and like finance like 2 or 3, and so I ran out of cream and sugar, so that's how I just got to drinking coffee black because I was like in college and I was like, I'm not gonna waste money on cream and sugar when I can use that money towards alcohol.
huh,
Good point.
man,
So
I don't know if I'd ever do that. It's tough. It's real
It's
tough.
worth it. You get used to it.
you do.
I'm sure you do. But you know what we don't get used to? The Blackhawks losing fucking games, baby. But kind of also winning games, too. Pretty sweet.
True.
Blackhawks rookie P.S. Suter scored his first 3 goals. It was a hat trick against Detroit. And that will just go on and remind everybody, Detroit fucking sucks. Remember that. Believe that. That's right.
Yes, sir.
True.
Fuck 'em. They were up in Nashville tonight. I don't know if they still are, I'm going to be honest. So I didn't look before the
They're
show
up.
started. But
They're up 2-1 right now.
oh, there we go.
No,
There, 2-1 Blackhawks tonight in Nashville. The Washington Caps, they're sitting at first in the East Division with 4 wins and 3 overtime losses. They have not lost in regulation yet, BK, so knock on wood right there. They did unveil some new alt unis too, bro. So how do you feel?
So
Do you like them?
Oh yeah, I do. I like the classic like W like there on the chest with the stars on top and like the nice dark blue. Very nice.
Very, very nice. As always, each week we'll keep you updated on where our teams stand on the ice. But, one of them's looking pretty good. The other one's just kind of meh. But I like getting excited for certain things from the Blackhawks, so that's pretty cool. Now, it's BK's turn, his part of the show. BK, take us to the pitch. To the pitch.
Totally see someone getting it onto that little intro there. Like really just getting into the mood. Like to the pitch.
Pitch.
Pitch, yeah. I'm gonna pitch it right into your pussy.
Jesus Christ. All right.
A team present for Brazilian club Palmas unfortunately died in a plane crash the other day. It's something technical went wrong. They actually crashed on the runway, didn't even get off. And what was even kind of more sad about the crash is that the guys on board were COVID positive, and so they were in isolation, and they were on the way to the game, and that was like their last day in isolation, so they could play in the game the next day. So that was just it really sucks. And if anyone remembers, this actually didn't happen too long ago. In 2016, there was a plane crash by a Brazilian soccer club. I'm going to say this wrong, but I'm going to try. Chapecoense, where 19 players unfortunately lost their lives on the way to a South American final. So hopefully Brazilian clubs just use better charter planes going forward, or hopefully just something's done safety measure-wise, just so that doesn't happen as frequently. Now to slightly happier news. Like Arsenal lost their first game in the past 8 falling to Southampton the other day. They won't be able to defend their FA Cup title anymore, but that's all right. Arsenal got revenge earlier today on Southampton after dropping 1 goal there early. They came back, stormed back, scored 3 goals. Goals by Pepe, Laka, and Saka. So it was great to bounce back today. Wolves play tomorrow against Chelsea. It will be Chelsea's first game without their manager, Frank Lampard, who they just let go the other day. Thomas Tuchel, who was most recently at PSG, Paris Saint-Germain. So think Kylian Mbappe and Neymar, because those are the big names there right now. So he'll be taking over. I think he'll actually be coaching the game tomorrow against the Wolves. So I know Ryan will be watching. That's 1 p.m. Eastern time. Eastern time, not Central.
Yeah, I'll be at my desk like, hey, motherfucker, I gotta watch the Wolves. And not the Chicago Wolves. No, not the Chicago Wolves, but
Peacock password. So
I don't have Peacock yet.
I have it, so I can give you the password.
There we go. Oh, are we good? Oh, that was it? Oh, bet. Okay, cool. I didn't know. I was like, oh, thanks for taking us to the pitch. Oh, shit. I was like, what? And he reached for his drink. I'm like, oh, it's done. All right, cool. All right, NBA updates for the hardwood. The Wiz lost their first game back after their COVID layoff to the Spurs, 121-101. The Wizards had not played a game since the 11th of January until falling to the Spurs 2 nights ago. The Wiz are currently 3-9 on the year. I know they're playing Houston, so John Wall coming to play the Wizards. Russell Westbrook playing, I guess, his former team, the Rockets. So there you go. And the Bulls, we're 7-10, and we won 3 out of our last 5, baby. See red, let's go! Woo! Really cool, positive vibe for the Bulls. It's been kind of fun. Even when they're losing, like, it hasn't been bad, you know. But Wendell Carter, bad news. He's gonna be out for a while, so that indeed sucks. But we'll see. We'll see what the Bulls continue to do and continue to grow as well. And will the Wizards figure it out? I don't know. Find out next time. I don't know.
Nope.
Nope. Nope.
I blame it on Russell Westbrook.
I know you will. It's just like David blames his fantasy team losing on Juju. It is what it is. It is what it is. MLB-wise, so MLBPA rejected the owner's proposal that included universal DH and expanded playoffs. Just so everyone knows, the current CBA does expire this December 1st. Pete, as a National League guy, are you a little salty you don't get an extended DH yet? Or universal DH?
Yeah, why not? I mean, why not just have DH? I mean, let's just bring it. Last year I was hyped for it as a Cub fan because it's like, I feel like we can, have Schwarber's at DH. We got a couple extra hitters, give Contreras a day off. Well, no, the team stinks now. So, it's not like it matters really too much to the Cubs. But from a perspective of the NL, yeah, why not? I think it's gone to that point. You should just do it. More likely than not, when the pitcher's up, it's like an automatic out. Yeah, it's fun when you go to a game and a pitcher gets a hit and it's an absolute miracle. But what are the odds that really happens? So, yeah, just it's 2021. Let's move on, baseball. Let's have a little bit more excitement in our game and let's put a hitter out there.
100%. I do concur with that. Well, I don't see why we haven't done it yet. It seems silly. Also, the expanded playoffs, a lot of that has to go into the players' union feeling like the owners want, obviously the owners want to expand the playoffs because that's more money for them, more ad revenue, more TV money, and they don't like the split that they're getting currently, I guess, on the money-wise situation. So they're like, yo, no, we're not doing that. But we're going to play 162 games, possibly, because, Dan, what county do you live in?
Maricopa.
There it is. Thank you very much. I couldn't remember how to say it. Maricopa County right now has a rise in COVID cases. So because of that, the mayor of Glendale has said that they would like spring training to be maybe pushed back because of the rise in cases. They don't want to start yet. So I don't know what that's going to do out there. If it gets going on time, baseball's going to be pushed for it. Because, we're getting pretty close to when pitchers and catchers would technically be able to report. I don't know. I don't know what baseball's going to do. I'm going to be honest with you. If I was a gambling man, which I am, I would almost like to gamble on the fact that we probably don't get 162 games. I just don't see it. I think it's funny the players want it, but I don't think it happens. No, sir. No. We don't even have any vaccine plan. We can't even how are we gonna do this? I don't know. It's not good. Also, I guess not good. Depends how you looked at it. No one was elected to the Hall of Fame this year. Now it's the first time that the Baseball Writers of America have not voted anybody in since 2013. However, also the Veterans Committee and all those, and I want to say it's the Veterans Committee and something other name, but they usually vote on somebody or a couple people to get in as well to join the class, people that have already passed their time, their 10 years and all that. Harold Baines, I think, just got the recognition not too long ago. I don't know why, but that's all right. And at that time, but because of COVID, they couldn't meet this year, so that's not happening either. So it's for the first time since 1960. Yep, 1960. That we will not have anybody going in, just the class from last year. That's it. Curt Schilling, 16 votes short. says he doesn't want to be included for his final year of eligibility next year. He wants the Vets Committee to decide because they're the ones that really know. And listen, I've got feelings on Curt Schilling, okay? Curt Schilling. I understand when you vote for somebody to be in the Hall of Fame, you're supposed to take away the outside stuff and like kind of focus on just what he did as a player. But Curt Schilling is a piece of shit. Okay? Curt Schilling is a racist bigot that can suck my fucking left nut. Okay? This man also encouraged the fucking riots at the Capitol, which BK and I touched upon so lovely a few episodes ago. You can find that on podcast platforms, of course. And I'll tell you what, Curt, you and your bloody sock can fucking take a hike, go fuck yourself, and I hope you don't get into the Hall of Fame. Now, on the flip side of this, Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens should just be in the Hall of Fame. In my opinion. I think they should. For us to pretend like steroids isn't the reason people even watch baseball right now is just beyond me. Kids like us grew up watching baseball because of all the home runs, and it was so exciting. Of course, we all sure remember the Sammy Sosa versus Mark McGwire. That was great. That's what you wanted to see. And for Bud Selig, God bless his soul, just out there, and the way it went down, the way they handle steroids, it was stupid. Barry Bonds is the home run king. He just is. I mean, you can sit here. We did just lose Hank Aaron the other day, which is also really sad. Rest in peace, Hank Aaron. For many, the true home run king, right? Because no steroids. But Barry Bonds was also playing against pitchers who were on roids. So it's like, you know what I mean? I understand, but we're just gonna. For us to pretend like it just didn't happen, we're just going to push everybody that took roids out. You're not going to get in. It just seems so stupid because they really did play a very important role in the game. So I'm going to go with you first, BK. Do you, one, have an issue with Curt Schilling not getting in, I guess? And two, should Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, other steroid users get in?
Do you not have a problem with Schilling not getting in, just with all of his extracurriculars, we'll call it.
There it is.
Just to sum it up shortly. And I do the whole Bonds Clemens thing. I've flip flop on it so much. But the fact is that those guys helped kind of carry baseball, like the torch for baseball for those years. And the thing you can always say is like with Clemens, he was proven for not taking it until like later in his career, and he kind of already had the numbers to get in before that, in all honesty. And then with Bonds, he still had to hit the ball. I think actually at one point, like one of the years that he had like he broke the home run record, you were more likely to surrender less runs if you just walked him.
Mm-hmm.
So, but teams just didn't do that because they kept pitching to him and he kept matching.
Right.
And matching. So, what you said encompasses like perfectly with Bud Selig. Like goes back to his fault, and so I mean, just almost put something up there like next to their plaques, or like put them like in a separate area, and have Bud Selig plaque like right there, and be like, hey, this was the steroid era, and use it as like a learning opportunity because you can also like. Which at the Hall of Fame, you can like when people are coming to visit, like this is why you don't take steroids. You can talk about a lot of things, but you put that like little asterisk, but like literally blame Bud Selig because it's entirely his fault for not policing it. So,
100%. Hello, David from Twitch.tv/UndeadRedBull. Welcome to the show. We are currently talking about the no Hall of Famers getting in, Curt Schilling, piece of shit, and also steroid players and whether they like Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, whether they should get in or not. I'm obviously going to give you some time before I go to you, but I just, wanted to let you know. Also, Frank in the comments, I don't think they should be allowed until Pete Rose is allowed in the Hall of Fame. I don't know if I've said this on the show. I'm positive I have. I feel very passionate, Frank, about Pete Rose being in the Hall of Fame. Very, very much so. I went to the Hall of Fame once. I've gone there once. It's beautiful. If you are ever... if you love baseball, obviously you're going to love it. But if you're ever having like a time where you're questioning how much you love baseball, just go to Cooperstown and go to the Hall of Fame, and it will reinvigorate whatever love you have for baseball. It truly does. But I saw so many of Pete Rose memorabilia in the Hall of Fame, and I'm like, so we're going to have his jersey, we're going to have his gloves, we're going to have his bats, we're going to have all this shit, but we're just not going to put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame for gambling. on his own team. He gambled on his own team. Fucking stupid. Baseball can kiss my ass for that. Pete, not Pete Rose, but Petey Tahiti.
Yeah.
1, do you have an issue Curt Schilling not getting in? 2, do you think that steroid users such as Barry, such as Roger Clemens, Sammy Sosa, should get in?
Well, I mean, we'll toot the own horn. I mean, Curt Schilling is a piece of shit.
There it is.
So no, he shouldn't be in. He sucks. Whatever, bloody sock. Whatever. Good for you. Keep your sock to yourself, Curt. And then in terms of like Bonds and Clemens, yeah, I mean, it's always tricky. It's always tricky from the standpoint of like, they were during the steroid era, but they both like dominated. Really like, even prior to that and during that time, and really kept baseball. And I'm looking at basically Bonds and Clemens. So if you're looking at like their war, like career war, okay, so as good as A-Rod is, and obviously we'll talk about A-Royd, but his career war was 117, okay? To put in perspective, Manny Ramirez was 69.3. Barry Bonds by himself was 162. Like,
damn.
Just think about that. Barry Bonds is 162. So that is unbelievable. So, I mean, yeah, he took steroids. We get it. But, like, you still got to hit the ball. I think BK might have said that. And, like, any pitcher, like, during that era, basically did not want to pitch to him. I think Maddox was actually on, pardon my take, like, last week. Maddox, they asked him, like, who did he not want to face? He's like, Bonds. I'm not pitching to him. No, I'm not doing that. And I think, Ryan, you mentioned, like, that, like, if you walk him, it's better than him trying to hit. So,
Yeah.
like, I mean, if he's not in the Hall of Fame, it doesn't really make sense to me. And then for the Clemens, I mean, Clemens' WAR is 139. The next, like, closest pitcher, if we want to talk about Schilling, that's 79. That's almost double, okay? So, I mean, for Clemens not to be in, definitely should be in. Just because, I mean, not only, like, his stats are great, he was great in the postseason. Like, I get it from a standpoint of, yeah, he took steroids, but you know what, baseball, you got to wear that. That happened. Like, we're not going to bullshit around it. Like, if baseball really wanted to bullshit around it, take Bonds' name basically off the ballot, or take his stats off of there. If they really wanted to take it away and not talk about it, take it off. But they don't. So if we're going to at least, have these guys at least nominated, put them in. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Just do it by now.
100%. Also, man, Frank, you just said it's not easy hitting the ball. Ask Gordon Beckham. Oh, man.
Oh,
That hurt.
Ryan, that's gotta hurt.
That hurt real bad, Frank. I really love Gordon Beckham. That hurt real bad. Dan, do you think that Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, the other users, should they be allowed in the Baseball Hall of Fame?
So, I actually think they should be, because it was an interesting time during baseball to see a lot of hits, a lot of home runs, and I do kind of like the idea that PK brought up about having the Hall of Fame, having different eras and like the Hall of Fame, so you can see how the sport has progressed and gone backwards in some different times and different decades, and seeing how the sport has changed over the years. I think that's something that'd be really cool to see, and you can highlight players that made that era, or define that era, and I think that's something you see in music, you see in different industries as well, and I think that'd be cool to have that, and you can give people opportunities to be in the Hall of Fame as well. I mean, just for something that was very popular at the time to do.
100%. I agree. I think that baseball just, like, they can't get out of their own way. Like, that's the problem with baseball, and it has been for a long time. Because you guys are right. It was an interesting time. It was an exciting time for baseball, regardless. To BK's point about Bud Selig just screwing the pooch on it, because he knew it was going on. It was like, hey, fuck it. Like, ratings were at an all-time high for baseball. It was a fantastic time. And I think Pete also's point that to just say you're not going to get in, you might as well just whitewash it entirely. Just get rid of them all. David, do you believe that the steroid users should be allowed into the Hall of Fame? If yes, or I guess, or no?
It's a tough call, right? I would say yes.
Mm-hmm.
You might as well, because they changed the sport. They made it popular again, I guess, per se, as basically everyone hit on the note.
Mm-hmm.
And it touched on, like, the Bonds used to be able to hit the ball before he took the steroids. He was above 300 hitter, all-star. And then obviously I even have like old cards of him when he was on the Pirates. He's scrawny, scrawny guy. And then when he takes the roids, you see that he got big. So he got that power, but yeah, he still had that hand-eye coordination still to hit the ball, which I guess you still need. But overall, I would just say yes. You might as well, but I do think Pete Rose deserves to be in before all of them. But it is what it is. And I grew up in that era watching it, so I enjoyed watching all of that. I actually got to witness Sammy Sosa hit 61 and 62 at Wrigley Field.
Oh.
So that was like one of the best moments ever as a kid. So I would just say that you should just do it. Just let them in. And then I see how I don't know if you guys talked about the next year ballot part, but yeah, we'll see. I just find it weird that no one is nominated, like no one going. That's just shocking to me. I don't know if it's ever happened before, but
Well, yeah, the last time. So, to rewind it a little bit here, the Baseball Writers of America is the first time since 2013 they didn't write anybody. They didn't vote anybody in. The vets committee usually will have like one or two names ready to go, but because of COVID this year, they weren't able to meet. So now they're also not going to have anybody going in this year. They will have somebody ready to go for the next one because they don't meet till September. So it is pretty crazy that no one hit the threshold, the percentage to get in. Next year it is Alex Rodriguez, Aroyd, and David Ortiz, Big Poppy. David Ortiz is getting in, no doubt in my mind. My big thing is Rodriguez can't get in if you're not going to put Barry Bonds in. He can't. Barry Bonds deserves to be in there if you're going to put Alex Rodriguez in there. It makes zero sense at this point.
it does.
He's just got a hot
The only
wife.
difference is at least one said, I took it, right? Whereas
yes.
the other one is like, no, I've never taken it, but we know you took it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We know. At least one, there's the thing, one admitted to it, right? So that would be the only reason why I would see how it could happen.
But then
One owned up to
wouldn't
it.
Sammy get in then? Wouldn't Mark McGuire get, like, all these players
Yeah.
then that ended up come out and saying like they did, like that also had great numbers, obviously in part due to the steroids.
Yeah.
I just feel like if that's the case, then they all should get in. Like, you know what I mean? It can't just if baseball plays this game where they're gonna let some in and some not, where that like deserve it, right? I mean, I'm sure there's other players that have been busted for steroids, like Jose Canseco. He doesn't deserve it. I understand that, but there's players like Barry Bonds, Alex Rodriguez, Roger Clemens. Those guys have the numbers. They probably should get in. And if you let one of those in, you're gonna have to let them all in. So that's gonna be interesting to see where baseball goes with this. But yeah, nobody in the Hall of Fame this year. Sorry, baseball. But you will get the 2020 class. So whoever was in the 2020 class, they'll be ready to go for this year instead. So there you go. Real quick, I know we don't ever talk about UFC ever, but I did watch the pay-per-view this weekend, so I felt like I wanted to talk a little bit about it. Dan, did you also watch it?
I did not get a chance to watch it, actually.
Okay. I know David caught it. David, did you catch the end? Is that what you caught?
Yeah, I saw the whole fight.
Oh, okay, good.
Oh.
So, just to run down here, Marina Rodriguez beat Amanda Ribas. That was via second round KO. Muradov beat Sanchez in a third round TKO. Sanchez was the one with the mullet coming out to Europe that I thought was really cool and lost me money. Piece of shit. Joanne Calderwood beat Jessica Ai via unanimous decision. Michael Chandler, who's actually made his UFC debut, he's a former 3-time Bellator champ, beat Dan Hooker in the first round via TKO. That was a really good fight. And then the main event, Dustin Poirier gets revenge on Conor McGregor with a second round TKO. Conor McGregor did not protect his leg. His calf was like a football, like it blown up afterwards. As soon as it went dead in the second round, that was the end of it. And Poirier did such a great job taking a lot of shots because McGregor very early on, especially in that first round, was getting after him. And Poirier hung in there, so that was pretty good. What's next for Conor? That's gonna be interesting. He said he's gonna try and get more fights in this year. We'll see because it was over a year in between his last fight. So they're gonna try to get more fights in here. And with Khabib is retired. After his dad passed away from COVID, he was just like, I'm done. I don't want to do this no more. And Dana White talked about. Well, I talked to him, and he was going to wait and see what happened with these fights. And Khabib wasn't impressed with any of the lightweight division fights. So I think that's going to end up taking the belt off of him. Dana White's really the only reason they haven't yet. He's been holding it off just to see if he can bring him back. But overall, we'll see what happens. David, your thoughts on McGregor there? Tough loss to Poirier.
Yeah, the first round was pretty decent. I think McGregor won the first round
Mm-hmm.
overall. He was getting some haymakers in there, a couple shots.
His shoulder.
And then that second round, it was definitely just a kick fest to his leg, and he just eventually gave out and went down, and it was over at that point. You could tell that McGregor definitely had too much time off from his last prior fight, and I don't know what his next move is. I think he said he wants to do another fight.
Yep.
And for all you know, they could be doing a round 3 for some more money. You don't know. We may see this matchup again. So we'll see. I think that's the approach that's going to happen. I think they're going to fight again, do a number 3.
Yeah, so the way Dana White kind of explained it was depending on what was happening with Khabib, and then if he takes the belt off him, Khabib is for sure done. That the way it looked was, he said these two right here, these are your two. These are your top 2 contenders, which is why UFC, like someone was asking me, people I was watching with like the UFC rankings. I'm like, first off, I don't understand the UFC power rankings. I couldn't tell you at all what it means. Because you have the dude who is the number 1, Justin something. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. Yeah, it's somebody who was number 3, some Brazilian guy. Don't know what the fuck he's doing. But then Poirier at 2. And McGregor at 4, but Dana White's like, those are the top 2 guys. And I'm like, well, then why weren't they one? I don't know. I don't understand the rankings. But yes, of course, we are going to get a third. They'll give it probably a little bit of time. I think you'll get McGregor versus somebody. I'll maybe get McGregor versus Dan Hooker up next, and then Poirier versus the number 1 seed in that lightweight division would also be excellent to see. So that'll be super dope moving forward to see what happens. But yeah, McGregor's not done. It's just. Yeah, he definitely looked rusty, and he said that he had too much time off. He needs to be more active and fight more. So he's correct on that. Let's get into some NFL talk. We had a crazy weekend, championship Sunday. It's always a good time. Well, for some, but obviously it's fun football wise to watch. But before we get into that, Urban Meyer was announced a couple weeks ago as the new head coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Pete, do you think this is a good move for Urban Meyer?
I like it. I think Urban's going to do fine there. He's won basically everywhere he's went. The thing I was worried about was who he was going to have as his OC and his DC. Darrell Bevell is a good offense coordinator to bring along. He really started to really initiate the move for Seattle and Russell Wilson. So he did a great job there. He also was the guy with Favre there in Green Bay in early years for Aaron Rodgers. So I think that is good to have as an offensive coordinator. I know this past year he was in Detroit. I mean, thank God he got out of there for Darrell Bevell to get out of Detroit. So good for him. So I think he'll do fine there. I also like that Urban's not going to be calling the plays. I think that'll be good because I think it will be quite an adjustment there to the NFL from that standpoint. And then the defense coordinator, I do like the move. I mean, BK could probably talk more about him, but Joe Cullen, who is the defensive line coach for the Ravens for the past 5 years. I mean, if you're going to take someone that's defense, you take a dude from the Ravens. It's probably not a bad choice. So I think he's going to do a good staff. You think about it, they're going to have, $74, $75 million of cap space, and you get Trevor Lawrence. And you're in a division where it's kind of up in the air. I mean, with Phil Rivers retiring, it's out there. I mean, obviously the Chargers job was probably the most intriguing with Herbert, but I mean, you got Mahomes. So I think this could be a quick fix for Urban. If he makes the correct moves in free agency, if Lawrence is able to develop, I think he should be all right.
BK, do you like Urban Meyer to Jacksonville?
Yeah, for all the reasons P2 said, and not to mention, the Texans are gonna probably just continue to step on their own dick. So, fantastic division to get into. I pretty much I agree with you on everything there. I don't want to beat a dead horse.
Just stepping on dicks. That's all we're doing. David, you're cool with Urban Meyer deciding the coach in the NFL here with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. Let's see if he could actually be one of those bats that change. Good college football coaches come in and actually be successful. In the NFL, and I think it's the right spot. I mean, you have the top pick. You have so much cap. I mean, you're basically setting this up for a success for yourself right here. So if you're not successful, then you were not meant to be an NFL coach. That's what it comes down to. There's no excuse at that point. So hopefully for the best.
100%, because it is, like you said, this is set up. I mean, Pete, you alluded to one of the better jobs was the Chargers, but Jacksonville, I'm sure, was right up there on a lot of people's lists just because of the fact you are at the number 1 pick, which is, basically Trevor Lawrence at this point, unless you fuck it up. And then you've got tons of cap space. So, yes. Dan, as a Michigan man, do you think that Urban Meyer, former Ohio State head coach, is a good fit or will be a good fit there in Jacksonville?
Yeah, I think Urban Meyer will be a good coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's been a great head coach for college for a long time with the Gators and then now Ohio State. So he does bring a good resume to NFL. Obviously, not every college coach that comes to the NFL does really well and successful. Also, the same way NFL goes back to college if you want to. So we'll see what we get out of him. Like you said, he does have some success set there in Jacksonville Jaguars, and so I don't know. Well, I guess let's see what we see from the first season to see how he does, because some coaches don't transition well because they play players.
100%. And something that doesn't, BK alluded to, the Texans stepping on their own dick. Deshaun Watson, right, he wants out. Everyone knows, right? He's upset with how the process was going. He wasn't involved in the hiring process for the GM or the coach. Very, very upset. It's also very weird that Eric Bieniemy hasn't gotten a job yet. It kind of blows my mind.
Wild stuff.
I saw people using that Nagy as an excuse, and I was like, all right, come on now. All right, leave him alone. We don't want to talk about it. But Deshaun Watson's number 1 spot to where he would like to go, from reports, the New York fucking Jets. Boy, what a spot. What a spot. Just, Jesus. BK, I'll let you start here. Deshaun Watson wanting to go to the Jets. Yay or nay?
I feel like he's going there for brand purposes. If you're really trying to grow the Deshaun Watson brand, you go to New York because of the market, media, and everything. That's the only logical reason that I can think of in my head. Because it's not like they have a shit ton of draft picks. It's not like they have a lot of great young core. They got fucking dick. They got nothing. They're not shit. So, I don't know. I don't even know what the Jets can offer them. Yeah.
Well, it would be their first pick and probably Sam Darnold.
And then so it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah, the Jets...
It's gotta be smoke. Gotta be smoke. I don't know.
I have to assume, right? Because the Jets, to your point, if they lose, like David, you said, they're going to have to get rid of their first-round pick. Sam Darnold, probably another first-round pick. Some more shit. You don't have the pieces, for this to work with Deshaun Watson. There's other teams, like Miami Dolphins, that have the pieces, could afford to lose some things, and still be really competitive with Deshaun Watson. The Jets just... fucking awful move. I know the Texans are a shit organization right now, but that's a bad fucking move. Dan, Deshaun Watson wanting to go to the Jets. Yay or nay?
I don't think they actually need a quarterback that badly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they need to give that much up just for Deshaun Watson. I mean, Sam Darnold's not bad. Look what happened when they didn't have him in. They lost every single game. Not saying they did much better when he came back, but I mean, he's not a loss for that team. And you need more than just what the hell's that receiver name? James Crowder, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You need more than just him.
100%.
So you have a lot more pieces than just a quarterback. That's not just your only problem. So I think it's way too much to give up just for Deshaun Watson. With what else do you need to fix that team?
100% as well. I've said that as well. That Sam Darnold, to me, if you're the Jets, I wouldn't even draft a quarterback with that pick. I'm either moving the pick or I'm investing it in other areas that you need. because the Jets have way too many holes. And honestly, Sam Darnold with the right pieces, I feel like would be a solid quarterback for them. Pete, yay or nay, Deshaun Watson wanting to go to the Jets?
I mean, it'd be fun for storylines, right? If he went to the Jets. Doesn't make sense from a football standpoint. I think, honestly, the best spot for Deshaun, if he wants to actually, win, Washington.
Yes.
You put Deshaun Watson
Yes.
on Washington, that's a really good football team. I love Ron Rivera, always been a huge fan of his. I just looked at their cap space. They got $43 million in cap space. They can afford Deshaun. And if you're Washington right now, while you have kind of these young pieces with Gibson, Scary Terry, with this young defense, because that young defense they're going to have to pay. Chase Young's going to be a lot of money. This is a win now kind of mentality. Also, you're in a soft division. If you put Deshaun in that division, they might win 12 to 13 games. I mean, realistically, because you got 6, somewhat easy games. Who knows what Philly's doing? What a joke. Giants, I don't know. And then Dallas, I mean, come on. Mike McCarthy sold himself that he's watching film when he's not. Whatever. So, I mean, Washington would be a great fit for Deshaun Watson. But I mean, I don't know. He might go to the Jets. The whole what was he having a green hat on?
Yeah.
In a taxi or whatever. His cryptic tweets or whatever.
He's like, I'm really upset that I signed an extension in Houston and I want to feel loved. That's what it is.
Yep.
David, yay or nay, Watson wanting to go to the New York Jets?
I mean, yay for him, I guess. Organization's probably going to be a nay. I don't think the Jets would want to pull that many pieces for it, for that move. Washington wouldn't be a great spot. The only issue, if you're a Houston, you're thinking, well, I'm going to be getting first-round picks that are later in the draft because they're probably going to be pretty good for the next 3-4 years then.
Right.
But then, to be honest, anywhere he probably goes for a trade, they're going to be pretty decent. And the highest value that you could get is the Jets or Miami getting back your own pick for the first round, at least from a draft perspective. And at least with Miami, you could also get Tua most likely as well. Which I know Houston has already said that they're not really high on him, but at least it's something in return. I think the Jets are okay, but I don't think the Jets would make that move. I think they're in a decent position to where they just stick with Sam Darnold for another year, and if it doesn't work out, then you have another decent draft pick for another quarterback at the top next year. And I think they do trade back from this number 2 spot. If they don't, then they're grabbing an offensive lineman with that number 2 pick, even though I would like them to grab that wide receiver, but I think they need a offensive lineman bad.
100%. Yeah, I think to everybody's point, the Jets have too many holes. It just wouldn't make sense. But I've seen stranger things happen. And the show, it's actually pretty solid show. Now, another person on the move, it is happening. They agreed they're going to part ways. The Detroit Lions are going to find a trade partner for Matt Stafford. Some of the teams that could be in that market, right? The New England Patriots. Obviously, the New York Jets. We don't know. I think the AFC North is probably set with their quarterbacks. It's either, if the Steelers get rid of Ben, maybe, but I don't know what they're doing there. You look down the AFC South, Indianapolis, that's the team that jumps out to everybody. The Denver Broncos down in the West, that jumps out. Washington jumps out. Let's see. Nobody in the North. Well, I guess maybe the Bears, but who knows?
I don't think they'll trade within the division.
I don't think so either. New Orleans is another option out there. San Francisco, if they get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo. There are options. Dan, I'm going to start with you. Best team you want to see Matt Stafford go to? Who is it?
I think the Colts would actually be pretty cool to see Matt Stafford on.
Mm-hmm.
I think having Rivers retire, I think that was a big piece because they were so close. They almost beat Buffalo. They came back and almost beat Buffalo. And they have a really solid defense right now. I think honestly, on both sides of the ball, I think they're pretty good. I think just losing the quarterback really screwed them. And so I think this is a quick fix he can get. If Matt Stafford is reliable, he could definitely win you games. I think with a team like that, I think he can get in the playoffs. Now, never being there, I'm not sure how well he'll do under the pressure of being in the playoffs, but I think if you just get him, I think that's a good way to get you back in the playoffs and back into that AFC Championship game possibly.
I do like the Colts. David, best spot you think for Matt Stafford?
To be honest, all 31 teams besides Detroit Lions would be the best spot for him. So,
Damn. Damn.
but am I wrong though?
Well,
The best spot. It really depends on the last topic, right? It really depends on where Watson goes first. I think people are gonna try to go for Watson first, and then once he decides where he goes, then they're gonna go, okay, let me go for Stafford because he's not gonna be as high value, just because he's later in his career. I don't see that many people forking over first round draft picks for Stafford. You may get one if you're lucky. You're definitely not getting multiple, I don't think. But I could see the Colts being a perfect destination because they're still, man, Luck retiring on them basically screwed that team because that team was built and ready to win. And then the quarterback retired. Like they had that defense young and ready to go. That offense was built. And then they just been trying to pick up scraps for the last 2 years. And hopefully it still holds off. But I think the Colts would probably make a move. If they're not already in a move trying to get Watson, but there's no way Houston trades into him. But yeah, I want to say the Colts. If not, maybe San Fran. But I think San Fran's going to be a big market trying to maybe get wins if he moves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
there's just a lot of holes and a lot of quarterbacks that potentially could be moved. So it could be a cluster for about 4 or 5 people.
Well, yeah, especially because I think Shefty tweeted it out. There's literally 10 teams that are like set. Like, they're set where they're at quarterback. They're not going to probably budge on that. This is where they're going to be at. Where the rest of the NFL, you could see a lot of quarterback carousel going around.
We don't even know if Tom Brady's going to be back next year. He could retire if he wins the Super Bowl. You don't even know. Well, Tampa could be in the discussion for a quarterback. You never know. So, a whole bunch of what ifs.
Boy, that would be the one that would get me, though. I'd be like, oh, son of a bitch. Okay. Like, he actually looked kind of solid. Pete, where do you think Stafford is going to end up? Best spot?
I mean, the Colts just makes too much sense. I mean, we talked about it. I mean, that team would be loaded. You put Stafford. Also, Stafford gets to play in a dome. Perfect there for Stafford. I could easily see the Colts pulling the trigger. I mean, they traded their first-round pick last year for Buckner. Clearly, that panned out. I love what their GM said. Basically, when they were talking about the draft, when the draft was going on, he's like, "Yeah, I'm just going to watch highlights of DeForest Buckner there on draft night. Make me feel better." So I thought that was fantastic when he said that. I think that makes too much sense for him to go to the Colts. The thing that terrifies me as a Packer fan was if he goes to the Niners. If Stafford is able to go to the Niners, that team's loaded. If with their defense coming back, you put Stafford on that team. I mean, hell, you put Stafford on that team last year, they probably won the Super Bowl. Let's just be honest. So, yeah, I think those two spots logically make the most sense. Stafford's going to go to a team. It's going to have to be a win now. That's what it's going to have to be at this point in his career. I mean, as we've talked about and shit on Detroit enough, like, I mean, they've been so bad. Like, he's sick of losing. So it's going to be a winner that he goes to. So I think it kind of narrows where he'll go. But Niners and Colts just make too much sense.
BK, what says you?
Great Niners, Colts, and especially New England, just because I think Belichick was really frustrated this season with the inconsistent play from Cam Newton. So Stafford just makes perfect sense. Yeah, the weapons aren't great, but they have invested draft picks into the wide receivers. With N'Keal Harry, they have. Oh my gosh, his name's escaping me right now. The NC State wide receiver they have as well. They've invested the draft capital into the young wide receiver and tight end core. And look, Belichick has, and yeah, it was Brady then, but historically he's gotten a lot out of late round wide receivers and tight ends that were unheralded. I mean, Gronk had the injury history out of college, but he fell in the draft. But I mean, I think he was drafted like 4th round, I believe, like around that. So clearly, teams passed on Gronk for other reasons. They didn't think he could actually pull it together. So I really think Bill Belichick's going to throw his hat to the ring for Matty Stafford here.
The other team I think of besides the ones that were mentioned is the New Orleans Saints if Drew Brees does retire. You go down there, you got Kamara, then you got Michael Thomas. You've got a low line and a defense that actually looked pretty decent most of the season after a rough first start. So I think New Orleans is another team to watch out for. But to Pete's point as well, it has to be a win-now situation for Matt Stafford. The Colts, to me, that's the most logical choice. There's no doubt in my mind. They've got a great offensive line. They've got other things that make them very good. I mean, the defense is great. You can go and get yourself another wide receiver. That'll make it a little bit better. So I will go with the Colts as well. But if I had to throw one out there, it will be the New Orleans Saints. Now, this past Sunday, it was Championship Sunday, right? The NFC Championship and the AFC Championship. Let's start with the NFC Championship, right? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers hang on, and they beat the Green Bay Packers to move on to the Super Bowl. It's their first time since 2002, which is where they beat the Oakland Raiders at the time. They will actually be the first team to play at home in a Super Bowl. Will the cannons sound off? I don't know. There's a lot of issues in this game, right? We're going to get into it. I know Pete's fucking ready. Listen, there was inconsistent call. There's inconsistent calls. We're going to touch upon that. I'm sure each person will. That's a big issue. The field goal call there at the end of the game, which I touched upon in the pre-show, that I was trying to convince myself why I would make that call. Obviously, hindsight's always 20/20, but even more so as I thought about it, I'm like, no, I wouldn't have done that. Not with the MVP as my quarterback. Rodgers after the game. I'll clear that up real quick. As I was getting ready for the notes, it actually sounded way more like Rodgers was really wanting the dip. But then after he talked and the CEO of the Packers talked, made comments as well, it really doesn't seem like Rodgers is going to go anywhere. He has an opt-out after next season, so if it's going to happen, it's going to happen then. Otherwise, I don't see the Packers making a move on that anyway. But it's also Brady's 10th Super Bowl appearance. The only other athlete to make 10 championships in the last 30 years is LeBron James. So, Pete, I'm going to let you go first, man. The floor is yours. As a Packer fan, what happened on Sunday?
Well, the Packers beat the Packers on Sunday. Packers lost to the Packers because they had this game in the bag. If you would have said before the game, they're going to pick off Brady 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to pick off Brady 3 times. You get 6 points off that. Okay. So then they go down, and this is where the game was over. We didn't even have to watch the second half because this is when the game ended. When you go down with about 2 minutes left, or no, a little bit under 2 minutes left, and you can't get a touchdown, and they miss Adams on first down on a back shoulder play that they make, 9 times out of 10, and it's just not connected, and it's red zone efficiency, and you have to go for a field goal. 14-10. You get the Bucs the ball. The Bucs don't really do much. They get to around the 50, and then it's 4th down, and then the Packers are confused. What's happening, which makes no sense. But then it does when Mike Pettine's your defensive coordinator. So then Mike Pettine's like, oh, yeah, well, I didn't know that this is probably what he was thinking. Didn't say it. Oh, I didn't know that the Bucs didn't have any timeouts. So, we're gonna play tight, and everything will be fine. So they give up. About an 8-yard gain on fourth down there, and there's 8 seconds left. So you're like, oh yeah, just don't get beat deep. Bucs don't have any timeouts. But no, they play a coverage where Kevin King is playing man to man, and guess what he does? He's just sitting back there and just like, hey, Scotty Miller, run by me, man, run by me. He was playing that Greg Williams defense right there. So we go from should have been 14-14 to now 21-10 Buccaneers going in the half. That was basically the game at that point. And then they start the second half. Aaron Jones fumbles the ball. Not Aaron Jones' fault, though. He got rocked, and the helmet was right on the ball. Aaron Jones, I don't think, really came back really too much after that. But the really main part of the game that the Packers did not win was the line of scrimmage. Rodgers was sacked 5 times there by the Bucs. He was also pressured 22 times. So I don't care what kind of quarterback you have. I mean, we've talked about this in the past. Like, if Brady's going to lose, it's going to be a front four. It's going to be a pressure that gets to him. It's going to be in his head. You could tell that kind of got in Aaron's head. And it got into his head, especially in the second half, a little bit, quick on the trigger, quick to throw to 17. You could kind of tell that it was getting there. And then in hindsight, Brady was only sacked one time in the game, had 5 pressures. So, I mean, that's where the game was won and lost. The Packers were able to survive the last few weeks without Bakhtiari. This is where, JPP and Shaq Barrett just came to play. And, props to the Bucs. And Todd Bowles did a great job with that defense. And, Roger's stats looked great. But the Bucs did what they needed to do to win the game. And, props to them. They did a great job.
Your thoughts on the field goal call?
At the time, because, I mean, I've been watching, obviously, all the Packer games this year. Matt's always been a coach that's been, let's go for it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's go for it. And it came out as his second-year coach at that time, where it's just like, Matt, what are we doing? I don't know if he, watches film of, Packers playoff losses. Because, that's the only thing I can think of. Because the amount of times that Rodgers just lost at the end where he doesn't even have a chance for the ball, that has got to be what was in the back of his mind. Where he's like, oh, they score a touchdown here. Brady gets the ball, 2 minutes left, field goal, they lose the game. Rodgers didn't touch the ball again. I don't know if that's what his thinking was or what. I don't know if they get – because they were at the 8-yard line. I don't know if they get a couple more yards, maybe have a couple more plays. But the defense, in his defense – did play better, but their third down conversions were not very good. So he should have kind of looked at that and said, let's go for it here. But at the time, I was like, you know what? I guess he knows what I'm doing. There's a reason he's coaching and I'm not. But hindsight's 2020. You look at the stats, the analytics, and yeah, it didn't look good. Especially with what you were talking about, Ryan. You got an MVP quarterback and you can't get 8 fucking yards. I mean, and you're going to trust a defense that's run by Mike Pettin, that stooge? Come on. God. If you're going to lose the game with Aaron on the field. Let's just do that. But you know what? It's going to be a long offseason for Matt to think about that one, I think.
Yeah, because the idea there is, even if you don't get it, the Bucs are at the 8-yard line. Your defense had gotten 3 interceptions against Tom Brady. Your offense did, like you said, only cashed in for 6 points. That's fucking atrocious. However, you still picked them off 3 times. You still have the 2-minute warning. You still have the 3 timeouts. All of this, I want Aaron to have the ball. Whatever. Either way, that's just a bad move. And I agree with you saying that's the second-year head coach in him. That's what that was. That overthought the shit out of it.
And before you guys get into it, I mean, the other thing that really pissed me off in that game is you have a guy like Jair Alexander, who is a shutdown corner. Why is he not following Mike Evans? The entire game. Why is he not following Mike Evans? That first touchdown, that's when I almost knew. Because I was like, what are we doing? What kind of film did we watch? You put Jair Alexander. Jair plays great in the slot, plays great in the outside. It doesn't matter. You take away Mike Evans. And then you double Godwin, and then you figure the hell out about the other guys. That's what you do. And if I'm literally calling that, it was funny because I was watching the game with Molly, and I was like, oh, going to Mike Evans here. Guess what? We have our third corner on him. Oh, Kevin King? Guess what? Single high. Guess what? Safety's going to go over the middle. Mike Evans touchdown. I mean, if I'm calling it, what are we doing here? Mike Pettin to have a job right now is beyond – makes no sense. They got the 3 interceptions, but that's because Jair Alexander's good. He got 2 of them.
Yeah, and Brady had a couple missed throws as well. David, I'm going to go to you here as a former Packer fan. Your thoughts of what you saw there of the Packers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
It was a pretty good game overall from watching it. Obviously, they're taking shots back and forth. But like how Pete said, after watching some plays over and over again, because I was on and on watching because I was also streaming, trying to keep that streak up to 20 right now.
Hell yeah.
The Packers really beat themselves when you look at it. If I was to tell you, if anytime a game that you go into and your quarterback's throwing the ball 50 times almost a game, that means you can't run the ball. And what sucks is you were able to run the ball. Like you were actually getting yards. You just stopped running the ball. I guess they thought that, oh, we're down by 11. We can't run no more starting the second half. And let's just throw it nonstop at that point. Like, let's throw out the run game for the remainder of the game. And let's just throw, right? And then that's when you got your Aaron Rodgers stats coming in. I saw like his red zone stats. He was 2 for 9 and 1 for 7 to Adams. So that means every time he was in the red zone, he was just looking at Adams and throwing it to him. That's all he was doing, forcing it. Even that third down call before the field goal that people were talking about, where Rodgers should have ran. To be honest, the defensive lineman was right on his ass.
Yeah, they were spying.
I don't think he was getting far. If anything, he gets a couple more yards, which maybe changes the coach's decision from going for the field goal. Because maybe a 4th and 8 was like, no, maybe a 4th and 4. Maybe he changes it. I don't know. Because Rodgers was going to get a couple, but that throw to Adams double covered. It's almost a pick. Linebacker's literally right there. So I don't know I don't know. Maybe he thought he could throw 200 miles an hour fastball or something before everyone could touch it. But like, those are just the stats from that. And then obviously you guys have talked about the penalties and the flags, or, vice versa. Obviously I didn't get to see most of the calls, but when I watched that last call at the end, I mean, the dude has a handful of jerseys.
Yes, it's very flagrant.
So it's like, I mean, it's hard not to call that. I mean, the dude literally pulled his jersey, right? If it's not pass interference, it's definitely defensive holding, right? So, there's that. And then on the field goal call, I said it right in the chat instantly, and I was like, really, the field goal? And then later on when Pete said, fuck me, right? The chat, when I said, how's that field goal looking? It was directed to Ryan, because Ryan was he agreed to the field goal at the time. So that's the whole reason for that text. It wasn't a shot at you, Pete. It was a shot back to Ryan.
I mean, you can see why I got
double
a
whammy.
I know, but it was really to Ryan, because Ryan's like, no, I really like this. And I was like, really? Because
that's the Bears fan in me, baby. Woo!
From the statistic point, right? I talked about it last week, right? When Reed went for the 4th and inches, right? You get the first down, you win the game. If not, your defense gets the ball, you punt, the defense still has to stop them, right? There's no difference here, right? So if you try to go for the tie or at least the win, right? Or it would have been a tie because you had to go 2-point conversion, right? Kicking the field goal doesn't change any impact here, because you still have to then stop them on defense again and then go down the field and still score a touchdown. Right. So I don't see what the play call there was. And I think how Pete called out, like, he definitely was watching some old tape. That's a Mike McCarthy call right there, going for the field goal, the 2-minute. Yep. So 100%. And then Tampa almost blew it too. After that field goal, obviously the kick returner, I don't know why he slid down. He should have stayed up and ran to get to the 2-minute warning. So there goes one. Yep. He just gave himself up. So he basically handed Green Bay another timeout, a 4th timeout there. And then I don't know what the rule is on the approachment, if you have to automatically accept that on that 2nd and 1 where Green Bay jumped off sides. They did that on purpose.
Yeah.
I knew they did that on purpose to get that first down so that they didn't have to waste the timeout. But I mean, obviously that's still great coaching. Yep. Obviously I knew exactly what they were doing there instantly. I think I called it out because I think me and Dan were watching it because we had stopped our game to watch the ending of this game. But yeah, like Pete mentioned, like the Hail Mary, like, what are you doing, dude? I mean, you should be doing prevent. Obviously that dude was playing like if they were going to do a quick slant, like 5, 10 yard, like in and out on the corner. And the dude just burned him. Maybe he did a little fake. I didn't watch the whole thing. Maybe he did a little fake, like he was just gonna do it in and out and just fucking booked it. But yeah, that was pretty bad. And then the Jones fumble, he got rocked. I mean, I can't blame the dude. If anything, it's Rodgers throwing that ball to him right when he gets turned. He got leveled. I mean, I guess you could put some blame because literally the exact same play happened in the Kansas City game with Le'Veon Bell, but he actually held on to it. But still, I mean, that's just one hell of a hit. You just got to accept it. And then, yeah, we mentioned on the turnover. So obviously the first interception, you got the touchdown. I don't know why you guys went for 2 there. That's another questionable call. I guess I see why. But if you kick the field goal there, and later in the game you're only down by 7, and then you probably go for that touchdown. Right. Maybe he second guessed himself. Maybe that's the reason why he went for the field goal, because he didn't get the 2-point conversion earlier in the game. Maybe he thinks he can't get it again later. That's the only thing I can think of from that perspective. But then after those two other interceptions, they're basically almost like punts. The Packers went -5 yards on one of the turnovers, went 3 and out on both of the drives on those interceptions. So no net yards, no time. It's just rough to see that, and the Packers definitely hurt themselves there. And I believe they controlled time of possession too.
Yep.
And they basically controlled the game, and they just shot themselves in the foot over and over. It was their game to win. And obviously, Pete mentioned, like, that defense was all over Rodgers all game, like nonstop. Like every time he dropped back, he was getting, someone was in his face, someone was running around, and obviously you losing one of your offensive linemen probably could have been the cause of that. That's a big factor. But you also got to think, Tampa Bay safeties, both of them were out of the game. They both got hurt. You think, if I was to tell you that the secondary got hurt, Rodgers should be able to pick apart that backup safety, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think getting pressured as much as he did definitely affected him a lot.
Yes. But, man, it's just rough to see a little bit because, we wanted to see this matchup so bad. First time Brady versus Rodgers. And it just sucks that, some of the flags weren't called on certain plays, and it looks like that. And even if that last play isn't even called as a flag, you don't even know if Green Bay scores a touchdown there anyways. I mean, it's all a question mark, but at least it gives Rodgers a chance to have the ball in his hands at the end. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it was a great game. It is what it is. You just got to move on from it. And like they said, like a lot of people are leaving. I think Rodgers is just referring to a lot of his team that our free agents are leaving. And he was probably just upset and frustrated that they couldn't make it with the team he has now.
100%. Dan, your thoughts there on Green Bay falling to Tampa?
Yeah, so I'm not going to say much more than what was already touched upon. I'm just going to say that you throw 3 picks and you don't capitalize on it, you tend to lose games. So
100%. Bear down, baby. Bear down. Mm-hmm. That's definitely how that goes. That's my biggest point, too, is you got 3 interceptions on Rodgers. You turn that into 6 points. You're not going to win that game. Or you got 3 picks on Brady. You only get 6 points. You're not going to win that game. BK, I know you have very choice words about some of the play calling. Your thoughts on Brady and the Bucs beating the Packers?
I just didn't agree with the whole field goal call, just settling for it there. I think I texted in the group chat. I was like, pussy play call. Just like I think you said, you have the potential MVP. Go for the win. Like, play for the win. In that case, and don't want to touch on too many bases here. That don't give the ball to Brady again in that situation. Like, just go for the win. Especially because at that time they hadn't capitalized on the turnover. So you're like, shit. Like, you're running out of opportunities. We already squandered the ones from earlier. Have to make good on this one. Yeah. Like, that's how I view it. But that's also coming from Ravens fan. Yeah, the offense has been good here the past couple of years. But Joe Flacco led our offense. Shit, you gotta take opportunities where they come. Fuck, So that's how I view it.
100%. I agree. I listen again. Bears fan. I completely understand when you're in that situation. I mean, I'm watching that game, and every time they pick off Brady, I'm like, holy shit! They're gonna win this game. They are. I don't know what's going on, but he is just missing guys left and right. I've got Brady suckers on there talking about how it hit the guy in the hands. Okay, Mike Evans is 6'5", and you overthrew him. Yeah. You know what I mean? Things like that. I'm not going to do this here. We'll do this next week, I think, when we'll talk a little bit more about Brady and, the GOAT conversation obviously comes up and things like that. But at the end of the day, my biggest thing is, one, yes, in hindsight, that field goal call is awful. I tried to talk myself into thinking that it was a good call, and I'm like, and then I thought about it. I mentioned it before. I saw in Pittsburgh, I went and saw the Steelers play the Patriots. I watched Brady go down on a 2-minute drive and almost win that game. And what he does is unbelievable. And that was with the Patriots team where the weapons besides Gronk and, Edelman was all right that year. Those are kind of shitty weapons he had. You've got Mike Evans, you got Chris Godwin, Leonard Fournette had been playing better in the playoffs. Ronald Jones was banged up, and you definitely saw that. But this, and Gronk again, it's just, you don't do that. If you're going to do it, and you've already picked them off 3 times, you go for the score there. And then if you don't score, okay, you're at the 8 and you're going to figure it out. But you have to get more than 6 points off 3 interceptions. If you don't do that, you're just not going to win the game. You're just not. And you shouldn't at that point. You just shouldn't. The second game was the Chiefs and the Bills. It started off pretty solid. Started off pretty good for the Bills, and then it turned just awful very, very quickly. The Chiefs completely just stomped on the Buffalo Bills. Mahomes looked really good. Tyreek Hill is great. Travis Kelce also great. We already know that. Eric Fisher tore his Achilles, and that could be actually a really, really big loss in the Super Bowl because Pete talked about the Packers lost Bakhtiari, and this Tampa defense looks primed and ready to go. Right now, they look very, very primed and ready to go. And like when JPP's out there with 3 fingers terrorizing you, I don't know what's going to happen here in a couple weeks at the Super Bowl. But BK, your thoughts on the Chiefs just absolutely stomping a mud hole in the Buffalo Bills' ass?
Well, it's just the Bills got off to the hot start there, going up 9-0. You're like, okay, hey, this is gonna be a high scoring affair, and then just the Bills just couldn't get the short passing game ever rolling. The Chiefs just look so fucking good, and it's fucking annoying. That's gonna be Mahomes, Brady. It sucks just like as a football fan because it was just like the expected chalk bullshit that you just don't want to fucking see because like we've seen Brady a whole fuck ton, and then Mahomes, re-signed that contract with Kansas City, but he still left money on the table intentionally. He said it like so they could extend Jones and shore up other assets. So like, fuck, man, it really sucks. Just like I get just coming as an NFL fan, just because I didn't really want to see this matchup at all. I really didn't. It would have been great for like the Bills Mafia too, for them to get back to the Super Bowl and potentially, maybe win one. Even unfortunately against P2's Packers, but it would be their Super Bowl, like going to the 5th Super Bowl, trying to go for their first win. Like that's a great story. It's really hard to like hate on that, but it's like the Chiefs going for like repeat against Shady Brady.
Well, I'll tell you, you're allowed to say that because you picked the Ravens to go and not the Chiefs. However, David, you picked the Chiefs as one of your representatives, as did I, as did Pete, but I'll get to Pete here in a second. Your thoughts on the Chiefs dismantling the Buffalo Bills?
I mean, yeah, they definitely tore them apart, and really the Bills kind of shot themselves in the foot too because you got to turn those field goals into touchdowns, and we have a game. So
it was a common theme throughout the playoffs this year for everybody.
That was the big thing right there. You get those touchdowns, you're good, and Kansas City's defense is getting better. Like I don't know why they always seem to stuff it up during playoff time. They always seem like they're not that great. We always talk about their offense and how their offense just flows and just nonstop. And I mean, Kelsey's fucking great. I think he had like the most catches in a championship game ever. And we're still talking it's tight end. We're not even talking about wide receivers. For the numbers he put up this year, and I mean, Tampa's going to be having some fun time trying to stop. And then with Fisher out, that does hurt them bad because I believe he's an All-Pro, easily lineman. So, and then I don't even know if we touched on it, but Beasley was playing with a broken leg for the Bills.
Fucking stud, All-American Cole Beasley.
How the fuck do you run with a broken fucking leg? You want to know how? He has a big fucking dick, and that was his second leg. All right,
He's got a Kong dong.
He was using that bitch to run while the other leg was just fucking, hanging there. But man, I don't know how. Man, I know how hockey players could do it because it's just fucking they're on skates, right? But I don't know how you do it when you're fucking. You gotta fucking. I don't know. I just don't know. I'd be curious to see he had to be taking some heavy shots or something. I don't know.
He was mighty.
What do you take? I mean, how do you go through that pain?
Right? Wasn't it like a crack? Wasn't it a crack in his fibula? Didn't they walk that back?
Well, that'd be a fracture, not a break, right?
Yeah, it wasn't a full break.
Still,
Still,
Yeah.
it's
No.
gonna hurt.
Insane though.
Hey,
So
insane.
insane.
Yeah,
It's still gonna hurt.
yeah.
Well, it's very
Don't try to discredit it, okay?
it's very similar
You
to
walk around
Yeah.
with that.
just don't wear shorts though because Pete might judge you.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
But to your point, yes, the All-American Cole Beasley. I say it every time, but dude, fucking stud. I mean, way to ball out and do your best out there. It's very much, T.O. and the Eagles in the Super Bowl going out there after having his broken leg or cracked fibula, and he fucking figured it out. And he was the main guy. At least Cole Beasley didn't have to be the
Yeah,
main
he
guy. But that's insane. What a stud.
And then I see in the notes also that the run game couldn't get going. The Bills haven't had a run game all year.
And that's their problem.
So they're definitely going to be. I don't know if Moss is their answer. Maybe they look on free agency. Maybe they draft a one with their first round pick.
Another
I don't know
one.
what they do. Yeah, they need something there because they had no run game,
Yeah.
and you're gonna need that. You can't be throwing the ball 50 times a game.
Yeah.
Well, maybe when you're playing against Kansas City, you kind of do because they fucking just light up the scoreboard and have no options. But still, you need to at least have some balance there. Their
100%.
defense gets off the field so they can breathe a little bit.
100%. Dan, your thoughts here on the Chiefs going to another Super Bowl after pounding the Bills?
Kind of like BK. I hate seeing repeats. I've seen something exciting, man. Just different teams, especially teams that haven't been there for a long time. So it's better to see that in all sports.
Well, you are seeing that with Tampa Bay.
I know, but it's Brady.
Doesn't
so
feel
it's
it because it's Tom Brady.
Oh.
LeBron James going to Lakers. Okay, cool, man. Like LeBron, like you know why you're there.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. But I mean, like we talked about before, is that honestly first quarter it looked like Bills are going to be in it. They're going to give the Chiefs a game to play. Second quarter changed that drastically, and I mean they got in the end zone, they got in the red zone, they just couldn't capitalize on touchdowns. Their kicker had to come in and make like four field goals, 5 field goals.
Yeah.
I mean, he scored most of the field goals. I mean,
Yeah.
he scored most of the points.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, four.
I mean,
Four field goals.
Or
yeah, when that happens, I mean, you just can't win against Kansas City. You got to score.
Yep.
They're going to do the exact same thing to you. They're going to get touchdowns. They're not coming in the red zone to get some field goals. They're scoring on your ass. So, Josh Allen had a good game. I mean, he had the one pick. That was it. Other than that, he had more rushing yards than the running back. That was also another fallback for them. They couldn't get the run game going. So, overall, Bills just got beat best by the better team. Chiefs were obviously the better team that won.
100%. Pete, your thoughts here on the Chiefs roundhouse and the Bills?
It was. I mean, there was a lot was going to have to happen. I felt like going into this game for Buffalo to win. I feel like to beat the Chiefs, you got to be able to run the ball. That's just not what they do well. I mean, Buffalo. Josh Allen had 88 rushing yards, and like the next best guy is Singletary at 17. I mean, they can't run the ball, and like against Mahomes, you got to control the clock. You got to limit his possessions. He's going to score in 2 seconds. Take him off the field. Mahomes just continues to amaze. He played, phenomenal in that game. There's not a player out there, I don't think, that can guard Travis Kelce. There's no one. There's not a guy that's big enough, quick enough. Maybe it's Devin White. I don't know. I mean, we'll talk about that next week. Maybe there is a guy. I don't know. But Tyreek Hill makes people look like they're in quicksand. Like, I mean, what he can do east to west, oh my God. I mean, and then you have Andy Reid, as your play caller. I mean, it's just that, we watched them kind of struggle against the Browns. Obviously, Mahomes got hurt, so, that kind of takes a lot into it. But, like, this was a Chiefs, like, hey, guys, we're still here. This was, like, a we're still here game. Josh Allen, I mean, it was a tough game for him. I feel like the Bills are going to have to pay perfect. But, I mean, Dan hit it right in the head. Like, you can't get field goals. Like, you can't do that against this team. You're going to have to get touchdowns. And that was the key to this game. They were able to convert Kansas City. Buffalo wasn't in the red zone. And what's crazy enough is the Chiefs' defense supposedly is 32nd in the NFL in red zone defense.
Huh.
It looked pretty good on Sunday. So that's why stats are sometimes stupid. So
yeah, that team always comes to play in playoff time, at least defensively.
Exactly. Yeah. I think I mean, it's gonna be tough to beat this team. But yeah, I mean, they just showed why they're the best team in the NFL. That's all they did on Sunday.
Pete, that is your Super Bowl. Your prediction at the beginning of the year was Chiefs and Bucks. You are the only one correct on that, so congratulations for that.
I would like to also say though, after we did agree that Leonard Fournette was going to the Bucks before we did our predictions, I think almost all of us said Tampa Bay would take over the Saints. I know
True.
I did on the podcast.
It's true, but I
Just
do
want to point that out.
I will say this, written down on law, it is only you, Pete. So congratulations to you. But I will also
Brian, I
say,
was thinking about that. I was thinking about that on Sunday while I was crying.
I will also
Packers
say,
won.
at the end of the season, we'll go through and I'll announce everything. But BK looks like he's got this in hand. He had the best prediction out of anybody when it came to all the divisions and all that. So shout out to you, BK, for being a stud, because you didn't do great in weekly pick'em, but god damn it, you did really good on the season prediction. So I'm proud of you on that one.
I did horrible.
Yeah,
I know I picked some. I know the North. I
For
think
the
I
North?
only picked where I picked because I thought you were gonna pick someone else and we were gonna pick a different team for
Yeah,
the North.
Yep.
That's the only reason why I picked Minnesota, because I thought we were doing that, and I think you changed it.
I took Detroit.
Did everyone have one pit team then?
No one picked
No.
the Bears.
Oh,
No one picked the Bears. Fuck them.
I thought we were gonna do one team each. That's why I did that horrible one.
I will say this though, that Patrick Mahomes has never played a road playoff game or been anything that wasn't a 1 or 2 seed. Lost a game by more than 8 points. Lost a playoff game in regulation. Gone home before championship weekend. But he has made 2 Super Bowls before turning 26 years old. Listen, Patrick Mahomes, it's one of those things. I understand. I get it. The BK and Dan, and I understand you don't like seeing the same shit. I think a lot of it had to do with Brady. I think if this was Mahomes versus Rodgers, I don't think a lot of people would be feeling that way. I think they would have just been okay. Like, I'm still seeing a little bit of a different thing here. I'm not seeing, I mean, even though we haven't seen Mahomes and Brady obviously in a Super Bowl before, but hey, that's all right. It's one of those things where I think that we just have to really appreciate the greatness that we're witnessing. And I don't remember what it was. He was like getting hit, and the way he threw the ball, like I saw someone tweet, like, how the hell does an analyst not just say what the fuck multiple times watching him play? Because it doesn't make sense. Listen, the Chiefs are the best team in football. There's no doubt in my mind. Nope, I'm not going to get into that. That's next week, who's going to win. But I will say this as we get ready here, where there is a new leader in the standings. Josh is at 62. He's one ahead of myself and David. So depending on how this goes next week, we might have a tie for
Picking the opposite. Just let me know what he picks.
I know he did. He already texted me. He's not going to let me know until the day of, because he wants it to be. He doesn't want either of us to know each other's picks. He wants.
All right, I'm just gonna go the opposite of you, so at least one of us have a chance. There you go.
There you go. One of us has a chance. So we will find out next week. Next Tuesday, we will do a Super Bowl show. I'm going to do something. I'm not going to tell everybody. I'm not going to tell you guys. But I'm going to do something different. I want that show to be, obviously, it's going to be very mainly focused on Super Bowl. So I'm going to do something fun. And I think that will be great. To wrap this show up, I touched upon at the beginning of the show. It is the 1-year anniversary of the death of Kobe Bryant, Gigi Bryant, and all the other people that tragically lost their lives in that helicopter accident a year ago. I also touched upon how, at the end of the day, it's going to go down as one of those things where there are events that happen, right, where people as a collective whole, you always remember where you are or where you were. There's certain things in my life that have happened. I always remember that. On a more of a lighter note, not as serious, Dan can attest to this. The first time The Undertaker lost at WrestleMania, I will always remember that moment for the rest of my life. I will always remember where I was because it was so shocking. Right. It was so shocking. 9/11, that will go down as a moment where I think everybody will remember where they were. As long as you're old enough to recollect that, you will remember where you were. That's probably most for our generation. A lot of other things I don't know necessarily. Kobe Bryant will be in one of those things as well. Death of Kobe Bryant, I will remember being at home and checking my phone and going on Twitter and seeing RIP Kobe trending, and I'm like, what the fuck is that about? And assuming it was a hoax, and then finding out as news came in, it wasn't. It was really, really sad. I know I talked about it. I don't know if it was on a Big J and BB show episode. I think it might have been. I'm sure we did do one, but I do remember for sure talking about it on Natty Nights after it happened, or on some. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was Big Jimmy Show. I don't know. I talked about it though, about how I've never ever had a celebrity death or anything like that affect me that way. Where like I remember getting ready because we were watching the Royal Rumble that night, David, at Jose's. That's what we were gonna go do, and I will never forget like getting ready and showering and like sobbing just because of the thought that Kobe Bryant passed away. Because Kobe Bryant, for all of us, I'm sure, is the reason a lot of us picked up a basketball or wanted to play basketball, right? I mean, it was Kobe Bryant. So I did want to wrap this show up with what is your your favorite memory of Kobe Bryant? And BK, I will start with you.
Favorite memory. That's a tough one. There's a lot of good ones, but I'll go back to like the first time I really thought that Kobe Bryant was going to be the real deal, and it was his rookie year, and it was the slam dunk contest that he won. And I remember he was dating Brandy at the time, and she was sitting, she was like courtside and everything like that, and he was doing he did an in between the legs dunk, which was uncommon at the time. You know, you didn't see everyone do that, and he just did it like 3 or 4 times in a row, and I was just like, holy crap, like this kid's really good. And that's when I really started following his career after that, and that's when he became my favorite basketball player. I really started cheering for him a lot. I just remember just that All-Star game, and just like I said, like that slam dunk contest, like the swagger he had as a rookie. That was shaved head Kobe Bryant. Mini Afro Kobe Bryant. Excuse me. It's just like that swagger that you saw later in his career. Just the Mamba mentality. You could already see it developing then. I would lean towards that just because that's when I was like, all right, I think this guy's gonna be special. And that was also when like superstars, like budding superstars, like actually like participate in the dunk contest.
100%.
They don't anymore, apparently.
They do not. They do not. It was also us emerging from the Jordan era and like being able to find the next guy, and it was Kobe for so many of us. David, your favorite Kobe memory?
Mine would be when he played against Jordan. Obviously, there's some moments there because it's almost like how we almost just touched on like the Chiefs and Brady, or Mahomes and Brady. It's kind of like you're passing the torch kind of ordeal, and that's kind of what that moment was, and it felt like. So that would be my main moment, and of course, obviously, his final game was also like going out that way was just perfect, and then his 81 point game. He just had so many. And they're all pretty good. But yeah, those are mine.
Dan, a Kobe memory for you?
Yeah, so for me, I would definitely go with the final game. And the thing for me about the final game is definitely because I was in college, and my college roommate at the time, Marco.
Yeah.
And it was on his birthday, I believe, is what the final game was, and he was a huge Kobe fan. So he decided that he was going to take a shot for every shot he made or something like that, or every 3-pointer he made or something, or every 3-pointer he attempted or something. And, he shot over 50 shots or something. So, he was tanked in pretty quickly. And so he just super crashed the entire game. And it was just hilarious to see him just drinking, smoking, he's got a chair right next to his bed. And I remember going to bed, and he sat in his chair, and I hear him from upstairs. I sit on the couch, and I hear, "Help! Help!" Should I go into his room? He has the door locked, so you have to pick the lock and get in there. He's still sitting there saying help. Open the door. He's just sitting in the dark. He puked on the chair he was in, just sitting there. His head just dangling down. He's like drooling a little bit, and so we cleaned him up. We had to pick him up and like drag him out of the chair, clean him up, and then just throw him on his bed and went to bed.
So Kobe fucked up another person.
Oh yeah, and it was great to watch. And so that was a good memory, and like I said, it was just a great game to watch. It was final game, just seeing a good performance. And also, I believe the Jazz were playing for a playoff spot that game, and obviously he beat them. So I think they got knocked out of the playoff contention because of that game. So it's kind of a double cool thing to see. So that's another cool thing about that game.
Oh yeah, I always fuck the Jazz. Pete, your favorite Kobe memory?
Well, I think the thing that we can always take from Kobe is always the Mamba mentality.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to that. So I'll never forget just some reporter asking him. I forgot who it was, but when he was playing the Magic and they were up 2-0, and the reporter like asked, he's like, "Hey, Kobe, why aren't you like in a better mood?" He's like, "What's there to be happy about? Job's not done. Like it's nothing. It's not done.
Yeah.
Like nothing. It's not over with." So that's always been my thing that I've always attached to Kobe is just like, the job isn't finished, and I think we can all take that from our lives too. Is like, something might be going great right now, and you kind of take.
Oh, Pete.
Kobe, and that's why Kobe succeeded. Kobe did, so well is just, he pushed everybody, when it came to that. So, I'll just never forget that quote and just him dead face right to the reporter. Job's not done. Right to him. So, yeah, that always resonates with me when I think of Kobe.
I think for me, one, it is the final game, just because as a huge Kobe Bryant fan, to know it was coming to an end was sad. But two of my brothers, Tim and Danny, diehard Kobe fans their whole lives. Bought all the books, got all the pictures, got everything, especially Tim. And to sit there and be able to watch that game together and to just know that it was coming to an end, but the way that he went out was fantastic, going out on such a high note. And Kobe Bryant just like leaving in a way of like, yeah, I still fucked you up after everything. Like, I'm going to still do it. And that was fantastic. And I also want to point out my other favorite Kobe moment is him winning an Oscar in 2018 for Dear Basketball, Best Animated Short. Like, I remember watching the Oscars and being like, what? Like, this man just fucking retired and then goes out and wins a fucking Oscar? Like, that's just it's such a Kobe thing. And that, it also is part of the reason, another reason it was so sad. He's gone far too soon because there was just so much more that you knew Kobe was going to give. Especially really getting involved more with women's athletics and, the WNBA and other things. And that's why that was so sad. But yeah, for me, it's definitely the final game and him winning an Oscar. Just incredible moments for Kobe. Of course, like I said, it was gone way too soon for Kobe, for Gigi, for everybody in that helicopter. It's just very, very unfortunate. But you got to celebrate Kobe's life. And I think, like I said, it's one of those moments where you just felt, even though you were sad, everybody was sad. Like, you could feel it. You know what I mean? Like, all across social media, and when we're with people, I remember, going to watch Royal Rumble, and like Mike and everybody and Junior and everyone's like, fucking just like, fuck. And we ended up doing, I think we had the combined between all of us 24 total shots for Kobe Bryant that we did that night. So super fucking sweet. You know what I'm saying? Do it for the Black Mamba. That's what I'm talking about. As always, everybody, thanks for listening. You can find the shows on your podcast platform of choice. Just search Amalgamation Nation. We're on Twitter and Instagram. It's at AmNationPod. Make sure you hit that follow button. On YouTube, search Amalgamation Nation and hit that sub button. For merch, if you're listening on the podcast platform, it's down below in the description. If you're on twitch.tv/UndeadRedBull, it's down below as well. Or it's also our pinned tweet at AmNationPod. It's teespring.com/stores/AmNation-UndeadRedBull. We'll be back Thursday night, 8 p.m. Central Time for a gaming show on our Twitter, our YouTube, and twitch.tv/UndeadRedBull. While you're there, make sure you follow David and give him a sub as well. If you have Amazon Prime, you do get one free sub a month, so use it on twitch.tv/UndeadRedBull. Dan, the man with the plan, it is time. It's my favorite time of the week. Take us away with the quote of the week.
You got it. Faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. Martin Luther King Jr.
As always, everybody, be safe and you stay breezy.